Now we'll open it up for Nigel, if you've got a couple of words, and I'm sure we have a couple of questions.
Yeah, I just want to start off by thanking the board for entrusting in me and bringing me on. I'm excited about what's about to happen here and moving forward in the process to sort through some things. And we were on the ice this morning with the group, and they're excited to get going. So for us, we'll continue to review some things moving forward and bringing in not only this year but next year pieces that we need to make the product on the ice successful and off the ice as well. And a big thing, not only the hockey side of it, I'm excited for our guys to be out in the community, be active members. And Lloydminster is truly a rich hockey city, and the culture here is great, the community is great, and we want to give back, like I said, not only on the ice but off the ice as well. And I'm ecstatic to be here, really looking forward to the opportunity and what's to come in Bobcat Nation.
With that, we'll open it up to you guys.
Just first of all, why did you want to take on a challenge here, becoming the head coach and general manager?
Well, I think the resources here, they're set forth to have success. I think that they're here. I mentioned previously before too, is with the community, right? The community rallies around this team, and it's got a small town feel behind the hockey. They love to come out and support the guys and support them in all the ways, and you see that when, talking to the players this morning and how much they love their billets, and everything's great there, and the support is all great, and even being welcomed at the door, and fans coming out to meet me between yesterday and today, and just welcome me to the city. It really shows how welcoming this city is, and how much they want it, and the passion behind that. We're going to build a culture around that people want to be a part of, not only the fans, the community, but players in the future and in the now too. And they want to be a part of this culture that we're going to create here in Lloydminster. That's a successful one all around.
Was there pause just knowing you've been with the Kodiaks the past year, and the possibility of a coaching job potentially opening there before making the decision to come here to Lloyd?
Well, no, it was one of those that things happened quickly last week, and it was just a matter of looking at where I was and the opportunity to put my name in for a position of head coach and GM, and really put my fingerprints on what I believe is going to work as a successful blueprint. Down in Minot, I went through a similar process of changing a culture and creating a successful culture, teaching life lessons to the players that go on, and for me, things happen really quick, getting into town yesterday and today, but that's part of the game. I think that's adjustment that you have to be made. Things are going to happen throughout life, not only in the game of hockey, where you have to adjust quickly, you have to make the most of it all, and to come in here with some energy and have the energy that's around here spread is a positive, and we'll take it in stride day by day.
What were your duties as an associate coach with the Kodiaks?
With the Kodiaks, recruiting was a big one. I spent a lot of time on the road, out on the road. I believe that a coach needs to be in those rinks to see the players that he's going to come bring in, and we all have scouts in place and doing that kind of stuff. But to get a look on that, so last year there was spending a lot of time on the road, tons of time in rinks across Canada, into the U.S., wherever see fit possible, as well as the community stuff, being active in the community with the Kodiaks Cubs Club there, and founding that, being part of that, and just creating opportunity and overseeing things, as well as the business side there too, parts of that, and I think that's part of my resume that I appreciate myself, that I think I could bring to the organization, is being in the trenches in my coaching situation before, of being in the business side of being in the strength and conditioning side of it, seeing those things and knowing what makes success there, as well as working on the on-ice product is a big one.
What do you see as one of the things you first need to address or first need to spend the most time on with this particular group?
Well, I think the energy level, as the kids here, they've been through a lot of late, and just bringing a positive look on things. Hockey is such a great sport and really an opportunity, and sometimes, not to say that players take it for granted, but it's an opportunity that they have every day to show up to the rink and be a part of it and make the most of it. No matter what, if you're on the ice or off the ice in the community, do something, whatever you're doing, do to your best ability, and that's the big thing. For us here, we're going to create habits. successful habits and the little details that go into it. And that might be picking up the tape off the floor in the room and putting in the garbage can. I said to the guys today, the one I used on the ice is, if you're the last person to use the last string of toilet paper on the roll, make sure we're putting a new roll on there. And that's the things that we're going to do, and that's the things that we're going to create here, because not only is that going to set them up for success on the ice, off the ice, but also moving forward in the future in whatever life decisions and whatever direction they may go.
Do you envision a certain way that you want the team to play?
Well, over time, we're going to go back to, right now is defense is going to be our first. We set some non-negotiables this morning, and defensive mindset's going to be the first one. I've been heavily involved the last 2 years on the PK side of things, on the defensive side of things, and we're going to shore that up. I think that's a big one that we'll hit on now. But moving forward, a big thing is for us to play with pace. We want to be able to play a fast game where we have players that are thinking the game and create off that, right? We don't want to be robotic in how we move and always dumping the puck in. We want to be able to attack with speed, create a fun environment and a fun game while being defensively responsible, and look forward to that. And guys that want to work, guys that want to go to the trenches and do the right things, that's what we're going to be about here.
Some coaches in the AJHL differ on ice time a lot. Some coaches tend to prefer a certain group of players kind of taking the brunt of the ice time, and they try to ride 2 or 3 lines. Other coaches try to play ice time almost evenly and just roll lines from 1 through 12, 1 through 12. Which of that camp would you say you fit into?
Well, I think it's a great game now where you look at 4 flex lines. You have guys that can contribute in all 4 of those, and it cuts down on the minutes played for your so-called first line or your second line, and it's a way to build repetitions over the opposing teams shift after shift, because you have the energy levels to do that and you're fresh in that. I think part of that will be the recruiting side of things and bringing in that, so we have those options to use A, B, C, D, whatever it may be. But at the same time, you want guys that want to work for their ice time, right? It's not just going to be given to them. If you're having an off night, you might see a less amount of time, and the next night, you might be the first guy that's highlight minutes. But that's just the way it is, because there's a little bit of competition within the group that you want to be the go-to guy with a minute left, that your name's being called to go out there in a clutch situation, and your name's being called.
Shane, I guess what pushed Nigel ahead of the rest of the game?
Well, we looked at a number of factors. There was attitude was a big part of it, what we thought that he could bring to the team. We looked at his pedigree. He's played in the AJHL. He's won in the AJHL. He's coached as part of a really strong program in the AJHL. Came within, I guess you could say, within 2 goals of an RBC Cup, losing 1-0 the year that he represented Camrose there. Has some local ties as well, which is obviously very nice. But I think a lot of it was mindset, knowing where he's coached, how he's won. He has an education that speaks very well to what we need as an organization. So we're looking forward to use all those tools.
You answered the rest of my questions, so I'm good.
I guess Shane again, how important was it to get a head coach or something?
Well, we wanted it to happen quickly. We didn't want to have to transition styles repeatedly. So the decision was made Friday morning that a change needed to happen. We didn't want it to be a case of weeks or months before we got to this next stage. We didn't want our guys having to adapt to an interim coaching staff and then having to adapt again once that decision was made. So we were very aggressive through the weekend in finding a replacement. I think the final number of resumes we received was well over 150. We were able to dwindle that down. Parts of our board of directors did resumes throughout the weekend, and we landed on the guy we want.
I guess, well, I'm not exactly sure if I have this correctly, but going from just a little coaching resume, it said that the only head coaching experience was Team USA Rangers, CCM International.
Yeah, that's correct. And sometimes, actually, in the interview process, I said the question will come up as to why haven't I been a head coach? And my big thing is because I wanted to climb the ranks. I wanted to go through and I wanted to experience the backside of it, of the recruiting side of it, the business side of it, the off-ice side of it, and not to race to the top and then to fall down too quick. So I believe part of that was my experience along the way to know what that's like, to know the different fields, not only the hockey side but the business side and what goes on to the day-to-day operations and make those successful. But at the same time, I'm a player's coach as well. I believe I can connect with them, have those relationships with them, and push them to get the most out of them every day.
Was there hesitation bringing in a new head coach instead of a veteran?
I don't think so. I think when we take a look at his resume, who he's coached with, Boris Rebelka is obviously a very respected coach in the AJHL, was a coach here a long time ago. So we're familiar with Boris. We knew that what he would have been adding to Nigel's resume over the last couple of years. No, there wasn't any hesitation at all, I don't think.
It seems that you have a very big community focus. You have that one foundation. So is that something that's going to be pushed, I guess, on the members as well, like to head out in the community more, go to schools?
Well, that's a big part, and I believe it's so crucial for players to be involved in the community. A lot of people look at it as getting players out there and the kids benefiting that they're visiting with. I look at it as a win-win for both. I think it's an opportunity for our young men here to learn life lessons, to experience those things that, everybody comes from a different background, and to see different sides of the world and different sides of schools and the pros and the cons and being fortunate to play the game every day, and then maybe going to a school where there aren't kids that are as fortunate to have those opportunities. And as far as One Goal Foundation goes, I'm not going to push that on there. That'll be if kids want to be a part of that, then that's outside of this. But I take true pride in being a community mindset and having that, and our guys learning those life lessons and wanting to get back, not having to ask for them to go visit schools or stuff, them coming to us and being, hey, can we go out, can we do this, can we do that, we want to be a part of that. And I think that'll speak for character of our guys that we have here, and we want that. We want guys that want to be a part of that and want to be role models in the community and want to do the right things.
Probably just the last one. I spoke with Brent on Saturday, and he was saying the goal is to build a foundation first. I guess how is this the first piece of building a foundation?
Well, because Nigel does bring so much, and like we talked about, culture is a big thing that we want to work on. We know that we have pieces in place in our hockey program, skilled guys that we maybe haven't seen the most out of them yet. We think Nigel's the type of guy that's going to be able to come in, work with the rest of our coaching staff, and get what we need out of those players to help make this season as successful as it can be. And that's ultimately where you start building from. It starts with one brick. I think Nigel's a very important brick.